Chapter 836. Preliminary Success of Vaguely Familiar Face. After the second round of the Refinement Path Convention ended, Fang Yuan returned to Hu immortal blessed land. Some time had passed in the blessed land already. Mo Yao's will had recovered from Fang Yuan's arrangements. He could search again. Fang Yuan had no pity for her. He conducted will searching on Mo Yao's will. This time, he obtained quite a few Gu refinement techniques that Mo Yao knew, including a refinement path killer moved. In these memories of Mo Yao's fake will, many were related to details of Gu refinement. In this aspect, Mo Yao was a refinement path grandmaster, while Fang Yuan was only a quasi-grandmaster. Mo Yao was also a certain generation's fairy of spirit affinity house. The refinement path techniques that she had expanded his vision quite a bit. After Fang Yuan learned them, he felt that he benefited greatly. Usually, when masters teach their disciples, they might keep some secrets to themselves or hide their trump cards. As the saying goes, a teacher dies of starvation. After teaching his student. Mo Yao's will was now Fang Yuan's master, but she was teaching him without reserving anything. Fang Yuan had many benefits. On one hand, he learned all sorts of new Gu refinement techniques from Mo Yao's fake will. On the other hand, he was revising the things he had learned. He intended to show his skills in the Refinement Path Convention, using all his ability to get the best result he could obtain, because this concerned the infallible inheritance. Looking over the current situation, Fang Yuan estimated that it was still safe for him to join the Refinement Path Convention. But as time passes, the risk of undertaking such actions would be uncertain. The toppling of 88 True Yang building was too huge of a matter. Fang Yuan was a lone force. He could only stall them. It was impossible to completely hide the truth from the investigative forces of Northern Plains and Central Continent. If the 5 regions' chaotic war was soon to occur, the 5 regions would be busy fending for themselves. Fang Yuan would be able to conceal the truth, but unfortunately, the 5 regions' chaotic war was still hundreds of years away. Central Continent did not have much chaos under the control of the 10 great ancient sections. Northern Plains' situation had improved in stability after the battle between Old Ancestor Shui Hu against Heavenly Lord Bai Zhu and Yao Huang. One day, the truth that I caused True Yang buildings collapse will be exposed. By then, I will have arrest warrants from Central Continent and Northern Plains. The other 3 regions might also come after me due to Giant Sun's true inheritance. Hu immortal blessed land would no longer be unaffected by the outside world. It would be attacked immediately. Thus, before the truth is exposed, I have to develop myself during this period of time. Fang Yuan could clearly discern his future circumstances. Once the truth was exposed, Fang Yuan would have to start a life as a fugitive. Thus, he has to increase his strength as much as he could, using all opportunities that came, or even create them if they didn't come. Right now, the Refinement Path Convention was a huge opportunity. This was only the second round of the Refinement Path Convention. Towards the middle and late stages, the first place rewards would be immortal essence stones, immortal materials, immortal Gu recipes, or immortal killer moves. If one obtained a good position during the final competition, they would be qualified to obtain the reward from the infallible inheritance. Thus, even if he attracted the attentions of people and was high profile, Fang Yuan could not care less. Also, his duel with Feng Jinhuang was well known by everyone already. Almost all of the higher-ups in the 10 great ancient sects of Central Continent knew about it. Fang Yuan could not lay low even if he wanted to point one day. When news that he was the culprit behind True Yang building's collapse gets exposed, his name would spread over the 5 regions. He would be extremely famous. By then, he would face a difficult and dangerous challenge. The entire world would be his enemy. Countless Gu immortals would chase down Fang Yuan, in their opinions. Fang Yuan certainly would have obtained countless benefits from Giant Sun's true inheritance. I have to use this last stretch of time to develop, accumulating immortal essence stones, immortal materials, and raising my battle strength to the limit. Most importantly, I need to get rid of my immortal zombie body and regain a living body. Immortal zombies could not produce immortal essence. Even his usual cultivation expenses were dragging Fang Yuan down. Looking at most of the immortal zombies in Zombie Alliance, they had to be careful and calculative in every battle that if Fang Yuan was still an immortal zombie when he was a fugitive, he would face immense danger. It might even be the cause of his demise. Thus, in the following days, Fang Yuan had to join the refinement path convention and practice his Gu refinement techniques. But he also had to deduce and use large numbers of star thought Gu to modify the immortal killer move, vaguely familiar. Face. This killer move was an urgent matter. It was his best way to change the situation for the better. Other matters could not compare to it. They were put aside by Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan got through the third, fourth, and fifth rounds. He had outstanding capability. His quasi-grandmaster refinement path attainment was uncommon even among Gu immortals. He got first place in all 5 competitions. With such a record, his reputation was surging. Fang Yuan's name started to circulate everywhere. Everyone who heard of it knew that he was a demonic path Gu cultivator. He was skilled in refinement path and had many Gu refinement techniques. He had a deep foundation. The day before the 6th round, Fang Yuan finally reached preliminary success in the deduction of the immortal killer move vaguely familiar face. It was not easy at all. Fang Yuan walked out of the underground cave. He was really excited, almost to the point of tears. The process of deducing and modifying this immortal killer move was very difficult. Fang Yuan's wisdom path and transformation path attainment levels were entirely too low. He was like a child pushing a stone mill, going one step at a time to get his current results. Fang Yuan had expended all of the star thought Gu he had obtained from Dongfang Changfan by the 4th round of the competition. Thankfully, he had the stone nests and large numbers of hairy men. He had been continuously refining and accumulating star thought Gu. That gave Fang Yuan enough resources in order to obtain a vaguely familiar face that he could utilize. As has been mentioned previously, immortal Gu were unique. Fang Yuan did not have a single one of vaguely familiar face's 3 core immortal Gu. They were in Feng Jiuji's hands. That if Fang Yuan wanted to use vaguely familiar face, he could only change the core Gu and modify the killer move. Furthermore, it would be best if this immortal Gu was one that Fang Yuan currently had. Right now, Fang Yuan achieved this aim. The modified vaguely familiar face that he deduced was greatly simplified in comparison to the original. It only had 1 core immortal Gu, each strength immortal Gu. His other immortal Gu, like fixed immortal travel, self-strength, iron crown eagle strength immortal Gu, and so on were incompatible. Or rather, Fang Yuan's attainment level was too low. He could not make use of these Gu in this regard. Fang Yuan could use each strength immortal Gu as the core to activate vaguely familiar face. This was mostly due to his rich foundation as a strength path grandmaster. Using each strength immortal Gu as the core to use vaguely familiar face, the effect was very limited. Once the killer move was used, it could not change Fang Yuan's appearance, but it could change his aura. Fang Yuan was a northern Plains Gu immortal. Once he had to exert himself seriously, his aura would leak out and be exposed, along with his identity. But if he used this version of vaguely familiar face activated by each strength immortal Gu, he could change his aura and turn his northern Plains Gu immortal aura into that of Central Continent, Southern Border, Eastern Sea, or Western Desert. If the other party was not a Gu immortal skilled in investigation, they would not be able to expose him. In fact, Old Lord Kenyang had such a method. When Old Lord Kenyang helped Dongfang Changfan, he fought with the band of demonic path immortals in an intense battle. But from start to finish, he was showing a Northern Plains aura. He did not display any relationship with Central Continent. This was evidently an immortal killer move. This was an indication of Immortal Crane sect's plentiful foundation. But Fang Yuan created vaguely familiar face in a rush. The effect was weaker than Old Lord Kenyang's move. Old Lord Kenyang could fight intensely against a large number of Northern Plains Gu immortals without exposing his true Central Continent aura. Fang Yuan knew clearly that his version of vaguely familiar face could not do that. Furthermore, the use of this killer had a huge weakness. The price was very high. Each time he used it, he would need to consume several strength path down marks. Each strength immortal Gu's effect was to allow the Gu immortal to eat immortal materials that were full of pure strength path down marks and extract the natural strength path down marks from them, adding them to the Gu immortal's body. Fang Yuan faced many failures in his deductions. He eventually racked his brains and placed his target on himself, a strength path immortal zombie. His body purely consisted of strength path down marks. As for the time path and space path down marks in his immortal aperture, they were not related to his body. Looking at another example, who immortal blessed land had earth path, space path, time path, and enslavement path down marks, but who immortal's body when she was alive only had enslavement path down marks. After she died, the enslavement path down marks on her body were all transferred into her blessed land. Thus, Fang Yuan decided to eat his own body. He used eat strength immortal goo as the core. By supplementing large numbers of mortal goo, he expended strength path down marks in order to disguise his aura. Even though this immortal killer move effect was not great, it could not meet Fang Yuan's requirements, and also had a huge drawback, but it was at least usable. That it was already very fortunate that he obtained such a result. He had thought that his deduction would end in utter failure. Having a preliminary success was already very satisfactory to him. The highest credit had to go to Wisdom Goo. Under the light of wisdom, Fang Yuan had unlimited inspiration. He could forcefully make the strength path immortal goo into the core of vaguely familiar face. With the joy of success, Fang Yuan entered the 6th round of the competition and got first place. Returning to Hu immortal blessed land, he rested for a short while before using fixed immortal travel to go to Western Desert. Western Desert, impassable dunes. Winds were blowing as sand was scattered in the air. The Gu masters of Shao clan were all in a battle formation. They were fighting intensely with the hidden sand spiders. These hidden sand spiders were all the size of elephants. Their bodies were covered in a layer of glazed exoskeleton. They were skilled at moving in the sand. Hidden sand spiders emerged from the sand. Their mouths were sharp and dangerous. They attacked the Shao clan Gu masters. Fang Yuan watched them from the sky. He estimated that there were at least 30,000 of these hidden sand spiders, but Shao clan was a super force of Western Desert. The Shao clan Gu masters had exemplary skill in battle. They also had rich experience in dealing with hidden sand spiders. Thus, the situation was tilted in favor of the humans. Fang Yuan only took a look before moving his gaze to behind the hidden sand spider group. This was a huge area of sand dunes. Within this area, fierce winds were moving about as the sky turned dark. Countless beasts were growling that if one looked closely, they would realize that these sand dunes were moving slowly. Chapter 837, Doing Business in Western Desert. This was one of the 7 most famous natural wonders of Western Desert, the movement of hundreds of thousands of sand dunes. It was like heaven was using a brush to sweep past most of the Western Desert, drawing a curved line. In this fixed curved path of moving sand dunes, there were no oases, no beasts, and no rocks. There was only yellow sand. No one could stop it. Even rank 8 Gu immortals were powerless. For these enormous moving sand dunes, Western Desert's people named them impassable dunes, revealing their helplessness and confusion towards nature's might. Impassable dunes, Fang Yuan, however, narrowed his eyes and flew straight towards the sand dunes. He had concealed his figure and flew right above the battlefield on the ground, but no one detected him. Several of Shao clan's Gu immortals were fighting on the impassable dunes, but they were at the periphery. Even these Gu immortals could not explore the inner areas. Their opponents were 3 enormous hidden sand spider queens. Each was a desolate beast. These hidden sand spider queens were like fish in water amidst the sandstorm. Their hill-like colossal bodies were constantly letting out hidden sand spider groups. However, Shao clan's Gu immortals were well arranged and in good order. Xiao Huqi led the charge as the leader, shouting and roaring as he immersed himself in the thrill of battle. The deputy leader, Xiao Shirang, sighed, transmitting, "Leader, it is almost time. We have already achieved our objective of training them. We should order our Gu masters to retreat now. If you had not said this, I would have forgotten it. Handle this by yourself." "Ha! These 3 hidden sand spider queens have weakened greatly. It is time to capture them." Xiao Huqi laughed wildly and was just about to attack, when his gaze suddenly focused in front of him and towards his left. He shouted, "Who's there?" Boom! The reply was a giant hand that passed through the sandstorm with an imposing air, directly grabbing a hidden sand spider queen. Xiao Huqi stared with a furious expression, but this giant hand's timing was perfect. That hidden sand spider queen had just been forced back by Shao clan's Gu immortals when the giant hand smoothly grabbed it from behind. as if this hidden sand spider queen had gone straight into a trap. Such guts! You dare to challenge Shao clan in our territory. Thief, you want to reap the fruits of our labor. You are unforgivable. Everyone, attack and capture this person. I, Shao Huqi, must see who is so daring. Shao clan's Gu immortals were furiously about to attack when suddenly, 7 strength path giant hands emerged from the sandstorm. Bam bam bam. Intense banging sounded out. 5 rank 6 Gu immortals of Shao clan were routed in panic. Only Shao Huqi and Shao Shirang, the 2 rank 7s, were able to fight equally with 2 giant hands. This is rank 7 battle strength. The enemy is extremely powerful. The 2 leaders have used their signature killer moves, but they actually haven't made progress. The other party still doesn't seem to have used all their strength. This is the first time I have seen this strength path killer move. Who in the world is this person? Immediately, Shao clan's Gu immortals revealed heavy expressions. No need to be nervous. I have no malicious intentions. Look, Fang Yuan slowly flew out and revealed his appearance. His expression having a slight smile, everyone's gazes turned towards that hidden sand spider queen, which was already clenched firmly in the grasp of the strength path giant hand, screeching in pain and struggling desperately. Captured just like that. This immortal killer move is really strong. Shao Huqi and Shao Shirang glanced at each other, seeing the vigilance in each other's eyes. If it were them, they could not accomplish this so easily. Otherwise, Shao clan would not have sent so many Gu immortals to capture the hidden sand spider queens. Fang Yuan was able to accomplish this easily. One reason was because he had grasped the correct timing, when the hidden sand spider queen was greatly weakened. Another reason was that after the merging of a second immortal Gu, pulling mountain, into myriad self-giant hand, its might had greatly increased, and had even more power against earth path desolate beasts like hidden sand spider queens. After grabbing the hidden sand spider queen, Fang Yuan appeared in front of Shao clan's Gu immortals of his own accord. Sir, who might you be? What is your intention? Sensing Fang Yuan's good intention, Shao Huqi asked in a low voice. Fang Yuan chuckled. I am nothing more than a nameless lone cultivator of Western Desert, living in seclusion over my life. Not long ago, I had no choice but to become an immortal zombie. Only then did I come out into the open. I am here because I want to do a long-term trade with your esteemed clan. I wonder if you are interested in regretful spider groups. Oh, regretful spiders. Shao clan's Gu immortals felt joyous. Shao clan possessed an immortal Gu house. 10,000 Li Silk Corridor. 10,000 Li was only a general name. The entire immortal Gu house was far longer than 10,000 Li. This immortal Gu house had a very special function. As long as there were enough mortal spider Gu, it could be spread out and built everywhere. If looked on from a bird's eye point of view, it would resemble a giant spider web spread over Western Desert. And the surface of the floor of this 10,000 Li silk corridor was smooth like silk. Anything placed on it could be transported at an extremely fast speed. Shao clan was one of the richest among Western Desert superforces. The most important reason was because Shao clan possessed this 10,000 Li silk corridor. Any immortal Gu house was a unified construct involving defense, attack, movement, healing, investigative, and other aspects, be it 88 True Yang Building, Water Pavilion, Heaven Overseeing Tower, Red Fiend Divine Boat, Profound Ice House, or any other immortal Gu house. They all were like this. They could be considered war fortresses. Shao clan spread 10,000 Li silk corridor everywhere, transporting goods and earning a fortune. However, 10,000 Li silk corridor's usage consumed large numbers of mortal spider Gu. 10,000 Li silk corridor was Shao clan's economic lifeline. Thus Shao clan had to gather a very large quantity of mortal spider Gu every year to maintain 10,000 Li silk corridor. This time, Shao Huqi and Shao Shirang led the group to capture hidden sand spider queens. It was to raise them in the clan's headquarters. Every set interval of time, the blood of the hidden sand spider queen would be drawn and their flesh would be cut. Then the clan's Gu masters would gather to refine large amounts of mortal spider Gu. Despite Shao clan's own management fulfilling a portion of the requirement, there was still a shortfall left, which would have to be filled by purchasing large numbers of mortal spider Gu from the market. Moreover, the larger the number of mortal spider Gu and the greater the variety of them, the More beneficial it would be in the operation of 10,000 Li Silk Corridor. Shao Clan's Gu Immortal group was naturally excited. Xiao Huqi asked immediately, "How many regretful spiders do you have, sir, and how will we make the transaction?" Fang Yuan laughed, reporting a number. The joyous light in Xiao Huqi's eyes faded in an instant. Fang Yuan then spoke. "I can supply your esteemed clan with this number of mortal spider Gu every month." Xiao Huqi beamed with delight. As for how to trade them, Fang Yuan said slowly, "Isn't your 10,000 Li Silk Corridor the best way? Give me a token for a nearby node of 10,000 Li Silk Corridor. Every month on the 30th, I will arrive at this node, place the goods, and take the payment." "Then what is the price of sir's goods?" Xiao Shirang chipped in. "No rush." Fang Yuan waved his hand. "Let's discuss the price after you look at the quality of the goods." Fang Yuan took out a sample. Shao Clan's Gu Immortals were greatly pleased at the quality. These regretful spiders came from a super force of Northern Plains, Dongfang tribe. It would be strange if Shao Clan's Gu Immortals were not satisfied. Fang Yuan quoted a price. After a round of bargaining, the two sides settled on a price and completed the first transaction on the spot. Xiao Huqi made the payment on behalf of Shao Clan, and Fang Yuan also obtained a node token. After the completion of the transaction, he turned around and left. Xiao Huqi and the rest of the group returned to Shao Clan's headquarters and immediately reported this to Shao Clan's first Supreme Elder. The first Supreme Elder slowly nodded his head after learning of the details. "Little Hu, you did well. The contribution points for this task will be doubled." Xiao Huqi said in a heavy voice. "Lord, it is just that this person appeared too suddenly. A rank 6 immortal zombie with rank 7 battle strength. Does Lord know of his origins?" The first Supreme Elder smiled indifferently. "Western Desert is vast. There are naturally many Gu Immortals who remain in seclusion. This is not something I can know completely. Immortal zombies cannot produce immortal essence by themselves. It is not strange for them to be forced to come out of seclusion. Since this person wants to do business sincerely, we will cooperate with them for now. Our clan has an unceasing demand for mortal spider Gu. If the cooperation is pleasant, there is no problem with handing out one of Shao Clan's transaction tokens to him." "Lord, are we not going to investigate him?" The first Supreme Elder thought for a moment before saying, "I know what you mean. Since the other party can supply goods for a long time, he must have other blessed lands. Okay, investigate him a little for a while. We cannot treat him like a normal immortal zombie. The most important thing right now is the contest with Dong Clan to occupy the market in the northwest side. We need to spread 10,000 Li Silk Corridor as fast as possible." "I understand, Lord First Supreme Elder." Xiao Huqi saw the first Supreme Elder shutting his eyes to rest. He understood the message and gave a respectful bow before quietly leaving. A few days later, Central Continent, Floating Flower Riverbank, Hearing Wave Pavilion. The large force, Hearing Wave Pavilion, was generally a secluded sect, but it was now bustling like a market. This was the one of the test locations for the 7th round of the Refinement Path Convention. A round of the competition had just ended. Everyone in the audience was discussing and exclaiming, with countless gazes gathered on Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was clothed in a black robe. He wore a mask on his face, just like previously. Silently and unhurriedly, he walked out of the stage. Many gazes followed his slow movement, while another portion of people stared at the rankings on the wall with shock. Right now, Fang Yuan's name was imprinted on first place. Demonic cultivator Fang Yuan has seized first place 7 times in a row. Amazing, truly amazing. This performance means he has master-level attainment at least. With such talents and ability, there is a high chance that he can pass the famous nightmarish 8th round of the Refinement Path Convention. When can I have such ability? Among the crowd, Hong Yi gazed at Fang Yuan's receding figure, his heart filled with yearning. For some reason, while others disliked Fang Yuan's style as a demonic cultivator, Hong Yi, as a disciple of the Righteous Path's Universal Life Academy, did not feel any dislike towards Fang Yuan. Hong Yi had great luck and huge potential, but his skills were too thinly spread out, and he was eliminated pitifully at the 2nd round. Do you guys think Fang Yuan can fight his way into the finals just like this? Youngster, you are thinking about the finals now? It is too early, too early. That's right. Who knows how many dragons and snakes are in Central Continent's refinement path convention? The water here is too deep. The previous 7 rounds were no more than the initial portion of the competition. The true essence and brilliance of the refinement path convention lies in the later parts of the competition. Chapter 838. Origin of the refinement path convention. Under everyone's discussions, Fang Yuan slowly started walking out of Hearing Wave Pavilion. Everywhere he went, the crowds of people opened up a path for him. Even though Fang Yuan was a demonic path Gu cultivator, those of the righteous path felt distaste and repulsion regarding it, but they had no choice but to admire his refinement path attainment. Especially in such a special environment like the refinement path convention, this was a special time where demonic cultivators could enter the righteous path forces openly. The mentality of Gu masters was slightly different now. They were focusing on champions of refinement path. The outer gate of Hearing Wave Pavilion, several Gu masters from their respective forces were shouting loudly and selling information. It was a booming business. Attention, attention, the newest information has been updated. There is the most comprehensive results list in this refinement path convention. We even have the results of the 7th round. Do you want to know the top 100 Gu refinement geniuses most favored in this competition? Then come take a look. 1 shadow image Gu for a minimum price of 50 primeval stones. We will sell it for the highest prices offered, until we run out of stock. A famous wisdom path Gu masters conjecture towards the ranking of the participants in this small competition of Central Continent sects. There are also the grudges of the 10 great ancient sects. A set of information for only 10 primeval stones. It is a steal. To think that the results of the 7th round are already out. Fang Yuan heard this, and he was inwardly moved. But when he saw the attire of the Gu master selling the information, he understood why. This Gu master selling the information of the 7th round was wearing the clothes of Lightning Information Sect. Lightning Information Sect was a superforce created by a Gu immortal. It was obviously far inferior to the 10 great ancient sections. Lightning Information Sect's creator, Milan Guang, was originally a Lightning Path Gu immortal from Wind Cloud Manor. Because he broke the sect rules, he was crippled in his cultivation and expelled from the sect. In order to sustain a living, he was forced to cultivate information path. Combined with his lightning path cultivation experience, he created a set of unique information path Gu worms. In the end, he developed at a much faster pace than before. He created Lightning Information Sect. After more than 100 years of development, it was already a first-rate sect that was skilled in information path among the forces of Central Continent. Even the 10 great ancient sects bought information from them at times. Fang Yuan walked to this Gu master and threw him 10 primeval stones. Give me a copy. The Lightning Information Sect Gu master received the primeval stones in a hurry. He took a look at Fang Yuan and was shocked. Oh, sir, is Sir Lord Fang Yuan? It is my greatest honor to be able to provide this information to you. How could I accept any primeval stones? Sir, please take it back. This information will be given to you for free. Saying so, he passed the 10 primeval stones back to Fang Yuan with both hands. Fang Yuan smiled lightly. It is your reward. The Gu master smiled in a fawning manner. Then I will thank Lord for the reward. Lord, this is the information you want. I thank you for purchasing this on behalf of Lightning Information Sect. If you could spare us a moment of your time and accept the interview of our sect, we will give you immortal materials as compensation. Fang Yuan waved his hand, receiving the Gu master's information path Gu worm as he walked away. Lord, take care. The Gu master saw that Fang Yuan rejected him and did not say anything else. After all, Fang Yuan was a rank 5 demonic cultivator. He stood on the spot and sent Fang Yuan off, gazing after him. Only until Fang Yuan was gone did he continue to shout loudly and promote his information. Fang Yuan walked as he diverted a portion of his thoughts into the new information path Gu worm. This information path Gu was only rank 1. It was simple to refine. It was not worth mentioning. But the point was, the information inside. That was the thing that was valued at 10 primeval stones. Fang Yuan inspected it and found out that there were over 8,000 people that got through all 7 rounds of the refinement path convention. These people were able to get through the 7 rounds. They would essentially be quasi-masters at least. Of course, among them, there were some lucky ones with lower attainment levels. But here, Speaking of those with lower capability was only relative to the experts. They were not at Hong Yi's level. People like him were already completely eliminated by the third round. Initially, there were hundreds of thousands of people who signed up. Most of these people were Central Continent Gu masters. There were also people from Southern Border and the other regions. After 7 rounds, only 8,000 were left. It was not even 10,000. One could see how intense the elimination rate was. And among them, only 400 or so were people who had gotten the top 3 places in all 7 rounds of the competition. These were talented people who were at least refinement path masters. This number of 400 might appear high, but in a huge region like Central Continent, they were truly a small fraction. These people were at the top of the pyramid in any path. People of master level were rare. Compared to other paths, refinement path could be considered much deeper and harder. The proportion of masters was even lower. Among these 400, only 80 or so had gotten first place in all 7 rounds. Undeniably, these 80 were the focal group of the focal group. They were the pivotal characters. Fang Yuan was among them. According to the experts' evaluation, his name was only at the middle upper position. This was the result when Fang Yuan did not bother concealing his ability. 1. Could see how intense the Central Continent Refinement Path Convention was. Talented people were emerging everywhere. It was not easy to defeat these refinement path geniuses and stand at the top. Of course, this ranking was only an estimate. It did not represent their true level. The tests in the 7 rounds could not evaluate Fang Yuan's limits. At the same time, he had a mysterious background. Even if they wanted to make a guess, they had no way to do so. These reasons caused his ranking to be at the 30th position or so. Fang Yuan looked at this ranking and found many familiar names. Firesmith Dragon Chief, Feng Hui, Tian Minmia, Feng Jin Huang, Yumu Chun, Louis Pin Tian, Do Ping Tan, Chu Wen. All these people had high statuses in Fang Yuan's previous life. Undeniably, they were all outstanding people, shining stars lined up one after another. Fang Yuan felt a strong, piercing light coming from them. Among these people, some were superstars. During the 5 regions' chaotic war, even though some of their rankings might be low now, they were immortals in the future. Some even were refinement path grandmasters during their lifetimes. Fang Yuan felt pressure inwardly. Fang Yuan was a refinement path quasi-grandmaster. He was 1 step away from grandmaster level. But this 1 step was very far away. It required great accumulation to make the breakthrough. Actually, in terms of refinement path talent, Fang Yuan was very ordinary. If his talent was insufficient, he could only make up for it with hard work. Fang Yuan's accumulations from his previous life, along with his current life, forcefully elevated his refinement path attainment from master level to quasi-grandmaster level. 500 years of cultivation, but only becoming a quasi-grandmaster. Wasn't he really useless? Look at Zhengshan Chuan. He is so young but already a refinement path master. Talent was undeniably important. But there was another factor. Zhengshan Chuan was a Gu master that cultivated refinement path mainly. All of his efforts were placed in it. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan in both lives only cultivated refinement path on the side. During his previous life, he lived 300 years at first, only cultivating blood path for the last 200 years, and in this life, he cultivated strength path, being one's main cultivation as opposed to being cultivated on the side. The amount of effort put into them was vastly different. If Fang Yuan did not cultivate blood path and strength path mainly, he might not have lived up to now. He was not fortunate like Zhengshan Chuan, having a master to protect and nurture him along the way. Furthermore, attainment levels of paths were hard to raise. The higher one went, the more difficult it was. Before Dream Realms changed the 5 regions, to raise one's attainment level, one could only work hard and accumulate their foundation. While having ample talent, one could say that it was not easy for Fang Yuan to reach his current quasi-grandmaster attainment level. With my ability, it will be difficult to even reach the top 10 of the Refinement Path Convention. Meanwhile, to benefit from the Infallible Inheritance, I need to be at least top 6. The Infallible Inheritance was a Refinement Path inheritance. Central Continent's Refinement Path Convention had expanded over the years. Initially, it was only a way for the 10 great ancient sects of Central Continent to fight over the Infallible Inheritance and split its benefits. Using Refinement Path to hold a competition and determine the winner, to gain the most benefits for one's own sect. But later, because the infallible inheritance's benefits were too great, it could even help in the recovery of fake goo. Therefore, Heavenly Court took over. Strictly speaking, the 10 great ancient sects of Central Continent were representatives under Heavenly Court to manage affairs. Heavenly Court was the boss behind the scenes of the 10 great ancient sects. Since the boss wanted to take over, the 10 great ancient sects could only accept it and cooperate to the best of their efforts. With Heavenly Court controlling it, Central Continent's Refinement Path Convention became famous throughout the region and even expanded its influence over the world. Right now, each Refinement Path Convention would attract many people from the other 4 regions to participate. Based on records from previous competitions, those who can reach the top 3 are Refinement Path Grandmasters, or even quasi-great Grandmaster level occasionally. The quality of each competition's Goo Masters vary, but the top 10 were usually mostly Refinement Path Grandmasters. Sometimes, the 7th to 10th positions were Refinement Path Quasi-Grandmasters. When there were few people joining, and there were only 3 to 4 Refinement Path Grandmasters, there would be Refinement Path Quasi-Grandmasters in the top 6. But when there were many people, there would be 7 to 8 Refinement Path Grandmasters in the top 10. Then there would be few Quasi-Grandmasters who could reach a top 10 position. This time, the standard was neither high nor low. There were 5 Refinement Path Grandmasters. I am best at Blood Path Goo refinement techniques. But right now, I do not have many Blood Path Goo worms, and if I use those Blood Path refinement techniques openly, I would be giving Immortal Crane Sect an excuse to attack who Immortal Blessed Land. To get top 6, I need to scheme. Fang Yuan thought about it and made up his mind. 16 days later, Central Continent, in Zoo Earth Trench, Demon Expelling Sect. Demon Expelling Sect was a super force. There were 3 Goo Immortals in it. Its sphere of influence spread over an enormous range. It covered dozens of large forces, hundreds of middle-sized forces, and countless small forces, including the insignificant Goo Master families. A test location of the 8th round was something Demon Expelling Sect's main headquarters definitely had the qualifications for. Tens of thousands of Goo Masters rushed in on this day to watch the exciting competitions of Goo refinement. Of course, the actual location was limited in space and could only hold 1,000 people, but these 1,000 people were not ordinary Goo Masters. Demon Expelling Sect had already made appropriate arrangements for the huge squares that could hold many ordinary spectators. Once the 8th round started, the real-time broadcast of the competition would play in the air. Chapter 839, Fang Zheng's Inner Thoughts. Chapter 839, Fang Zheng's Inner Thoughts. Fang Zheng and another Immortal Crane Sect elder led over 10 disciples into the competition venue. It was a hubbub of sound outside the stage. Over 1,000 Goo Masters were sitting in the surroundings, discussing in murmurs while waiting for the 8th round to start. However, because there were too many people, even the softest whispers converged together to become an extremely clamorous scene. Immortal Crane Sect's elders and disciples. Once they saw Fang Zheng's group, the surrounding Goo Masters could not help but stare at them. The sounds of their discussions became softer. Compared to large and small forces, members of Central Continent's 10 great ancient sect members gave the feeling of royalty walking among common people. That young man is actually wearing the attire of an Immortal Crane Sect elder. I am not hallucinating, right? Quiet down. Can't you sense his aura? He is a genuine rank 5 Goo Master. Making a fuss over nothing. It's not like there aren't Goo worms to maintain a youthful appearance. Look over there. They are myriad Dragon Doc's disciples and elders. At the next moment, everyone's gazes were attracted towards another group of people. The number of this group of Goo Masters was twice that of Immortal Crane Sects, with 4 elders leading the way and many elite disciples among the disciples. Myriad Dragon Doc. An elder of Immortal Crane Sect couldn't help but focus his gaze out of the 10 great ancient sects. Myriad Dragon Doc could be said to have been in the limelight recently. And the reason was because of Vicious Lightning Fiend. Vicious Lightning Fiend was only a rank 6 Goo Immortal, but his battle strength was extremely outstanding. During his 2 years of closed cultivation, he created the immortal killer move Lightning Deity. After coming out of seclusion, he roamed around Central Continent, challenging countless Goo Immortals in his journey. Most ended in his victory. There were few draws, and very rarely did he lose. the more vicious lightning fiend won, the greater his reputation soared. Because he gained a lot of resources from the spars and duels, the amount of lightning deities that he owned increased instead of decreasing. There were a total of 3 now. Even before he had lightning deity, vicious lightning fiend already had an impressive achievement of battling a rank 7 Gu immortal to a draw. Now with 3 lightning deities, his battle strength had increased explosively, even surpassing normal rank 7 Gu immortals. In his challenges, he had achievements of defeating many rank 7 Gu immortals. With rank 6 cultivation, winning against rank 7 Gu immortal was extremely rare. Especially praiseworthy was that vicious lightning fiend had repeatedly challenged and won against rank 7 Gu immortals. He was at the peak of fame now, and the reputation of Myriad Dragon Doc, his affiliated sect, was also soaring with him. This was to the extent that the whole of Central Continent's Gu immortal world was starting to recognize vicious lightning fiend as the strongest among rank 6 Gu immortals of the current generation in Central Continent. Some battle-hungry elders of Myriad Dragon Doc were so encouraged that they even proclaimed that vicious lightning fiend was the next Shirley, the next Feng Yuan. Vicious lightning fiend had immediately reprimanded them when he heard news of it. Leave Shirley aside. But Lord Feng Yuan is not someone I am qualified to compare with. Speak less of such things from now on. The implication of his words was that he was able to match Shirley. Immortal Monkey King Shirley was a rank 7 Gu immortal of combat immortal sect with outstanding battle strength, but he had firmly been pushed down by Feng Yuan. Unable to turn the situation around, it was rare to see a monster like Feng Yuan even once in thousands of years. Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects had been forced to accept it, respecting and fearing him. That a series of victory fostered vicious lightning fiend's swagger till he began to publicly challenge Shirley. Combat immortal sects people were naturally extremely indignant, but strangely, the violent-natured Shirley was maintaining silence. This instead boosted Myriad Dragon Doc's confidence, as they felt Shirley did not have certainty in dealing with vicious lightning fiend, and was hiding like a coward. Of course, people who knew some of the inside story were aware that vicious lightning fiend's challenge was nothing more than Myriad Dragon Doc probing at Combat Immortal Sect. Combat Immortal Sect discovered Starry Sky Grotto Heaven and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's dream realm within it. They had already covertly started attacking the Grotto Heaven. And because they had withdrawn their Gu immortal level battle strength from everywhere, the other 9 sects were already starting to sense something amiss. However, such secrets were generally only known by Gu immortal level higher-ups and characters. Thus, when Myriad Dragon Doc's elders and disciples saw Feng Zhang's group, they were clearly filled with arrogance. Ah, it is Immortal Crane Sect's people. What are you here for? To see how your elders fail. It's useless. Our Myriad Dragon Doc's Lord Dragon Chief will definitely be the final winner, no doubt of it. Myriad Dragon Doc's Gu Masters immediately taunted and jeered. The competition between Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects was extremely intense. There was much rivalry between either side, especially when Immortal Crane Sect had been showing weakness for a long time now. Myriad Dragon Doc's members, with their increasing reputation, further looked down on Immortal Crane Sect. Immortal Crane Sect's disciples felt suffocated by anger, but they could not retort to them, maintaining their silence as Myriad Dragon Doc's group brushed past them before they sat at their arranged seats. A bunch of cowards. Someone said in disdain. Someone else ridiculed. Ha! This is indeed the style of Immortal Crane Sect. Immortal Crane Sect's group looked even more unsightly. Some spectators were surprised at this and asked, Immortal Crane Sect and Myriad Dragon Doc are both of the 10 great ancient sects. Why is Myriad Dragon Doc being so rampant? Someone immediately replied, there are stronger and weaker sects even among the 10 great ancient sections. Immortal Crane Sect is weaker than Myriad Dragon Doc. This is known by everyone. Besides this, the participating Gu Master of Myriad Dragon Doc in this test is truly strong. It is that refinement path Gu Master who is called Firesmith Dragon Chief. What? Firesmith Dragon Chief is actually a Gu Master of Myriad Dragon Doc. Isn't he a lone cultivator? Didn't you read the information from Lightning Information Sect? This Firesmith Dragon Chief had violated sect rules in his early years and was thrown out of Myriad Dragon Doc. He is participating in this refinement path convention to get a good placing and return to Myriad Dragon Dock. So it was like that. It is said this Firesmith Dragon Chief has Grandmaster attainment in refinement path. Even a person like this is begging to return to Myriad Dragon Dock. The appeal of Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects is really enormous. Over at Immortal Crane Sect, Fang Zheng and the other elder were quietly discussing. Fang Zheng asked, I wonder, what is the possibility of our sect's elder Yin Tang succeeding in this round? Fang Zheng did not have much skill in Gu refinement. He had trained hard and barely passed the 4 entry tasks, registering his name. However, he was miserably eliminated in the first round. Fortunately, large-scale competitions were all open contests and did not prohibit anyone from spectating. Fang Zheng's status was also high, as an elder of Immortal Crane Sect. Elder Yin Tang, who had invited him to many banquets and drinks, was participating this time, be it privately or publicly. He had to come in support of Elder Yin Tang. The Immortal Crane Sect elder, sitting beside Fang Zheng, frowned at his question and sighed. Elder Fang Zheng, you are also aware that Elder Yin Tang's main cultivation is Fire Path, and he only cultivates Refinement Path on the side. Meanwhile, Firesmith Dragon Chief's main cultivation is Refinement Path, and he cultivates Fire Path on the side. The gap is too large. Fang Zheng still did not understand completely. Even so, with Elder Yin Tang's Refinement Path attainment, he should be able to place in the top 3. Sigh. The Immortal Crane Sect elder shook his head while smiling bitterly. Elder Fang Zheng, you are not aware. After the 7th round of the Refinement Path Convention, it uses a cruel system of a single winner. In this huge demon-expelling sect test venue, only one Gu Master will be able to win and advance. What? It is actually like that. Fang Zheng was shocked and was only able to react after a few breaths. He had experienced many setbacks. As such, the way he thought had changed. Since the opponent is so strong, then why didn't Elder Yin Tang go to another test venue? The Refinement Path Convention doesn't restrict the participants from choosing the venue. Elder Fang Zheng, you are right in thinking of that. After all, retreating to progress forward is also a tactical victory. But unfortunately, other test venues have already been occupied by Refinement Path experts. Moreover, it was the higher-ups' decision to arrange Elder Yin Tang in this venue. The final words were spoken quietly by the Immortal Crane Sect elder. Fang Zheng was alarmed and startled. If he still did not understand now, he would be an idiot. So the higher-ups had already made the decision to sacrifice Elder Yin Tang to probe Firesmith Dragon Chief. He suddenly recalled his master, Lord Sky Crane's words. Elder Yin Tang was isolated in Immortal Crane Sect, so he is inviting you to drinks to form a political alliance with you. Because he is alone, he was chosen to be a sacrifice. Elder Yin Tang is probably filled with discontent. What if I was treated as a sacrifice one day? The moment he thought of this, Fang Zheng suddenly remembered the miserable scene of him in the blood pool, with blood vines growing all over him. Ugh, the nightmarish memories surfaced again. Fang Zheng shuddered and gasped. What's wrong? The elder beside him asked with concern. Nothing. Fang Zheng wiped his forehead, his palms swiping away a layer of cold sweat. He did not dare to think more. He was filled with panic and hesitation inside. Right at this time, the elder's voice resounded in his ears. All the participants have entered the venue. This round of the competition is about to begin. Fang Zheng quickly raised his head and saw over 100 Gu Masters slowly stepping onto the stage. Fang Zheng saw Immortal Crane Sect's Elder Yin Tang, who was expressionless, but his gaze was filled with discontent and helplessness. Another side, the red-robed Firesmith Dragon Chief, however, had an arrogant expression as he gazed around, not concealing his disdain and contempt towards the surrounding participants. A group of weaklings, it is my win for sure. Start already. Firesmith Dragon Chief indifferently laughed loudly, openly urging demon-expelling sects hosting Elder. The surrounding Refinement Path Gu Masters did not dare to refute this because of Firesmith Dragon Chief's strength. Immortal Crane Sect's Elder Yin Tang clenched his fists tightly and looked furious, but he unexpectedly remained silent. Victory to Myriad Dragon Dock. Victory. Firesmith Dragon Chief will win. Myriad Dragon Dock's group was cheering loudly, as if injected with morale. They were rampant. The surrounding spectators, however, could only sit quietly and watch all this happening. Repulsive, truly repulsive. Fang Zheng still had the nature of a young man. He was clenching his teeth and shouting furiously inwardly. Damn it! If only I had enough strength. I really hope someone will beat down this Firesmith Dragon Chief right now and destroy this myriad Dragon Dock group's arrogance. Seemingly responding to his wish, a figure quietly appeared. At first, no one paid attention, but when he stepped on the stage, countless gazes turned towards him. Black robe, mask, rank 5 demonic cultivator, Fang Yuan. Why is he here? The whole venue was silent before being sent into an uproar. Chapter 840, Fang Zheng's Nightmare. Chapter 840, Fang Zheng's Nightmare. Nobody expected that Fang Yuan would show up here. According to the competition rules of Central Continent's Refinement Path Convention, from the 8th round onwards, there can only be one winner from each test venue. Thus, gradually, the whole of Central Continent's test venues became domains to be dominated by skilled Refinement Path Gu masters, like fierce beasts ruling over a territory. Unless they were forced to have no other choice, no beast would move out of their territory to challenge another beast. This was not sensible. The further they advanced, the higher the glory and rewards they could obtain. Having a decisive showdown early on would only let someone else reap the benefits. Thus, when they saw Fang Yuan, many Gu masters guessed, does Fang Yuan have some enmity with Firesmith Dragon Chief? The demon-expelling sect elder hosting this round of the competition also felt baffled, but showed no expression on his face. Fang Yuan's entry was in accordance to the competition's rules. As long as someone entered any test venue within the set time, their results would be recorded. Thus, even if there were people who wanted to obstruct someone, they could not do so under everyone's gazes. This person is Fang Yuan? Is he that famous owner of who immortal blessed land in our sect? Immortal Crane sect's disciples also began to guess. Truthfully speaking, our sect's Lord Fang Yuan is truly mysterious. I have yet to see his true appearance. This is Fang Yuan? Impossible. Central Continent is so large, there are also Gu masters with the same name. Fang Yuan and Feng Jin Huang's agreement has already been widely spread. Our Immortal Crane sect has many exemption quotas. Fang Yuan could have simply conserved his energy and participated from the 10th round onwards. Immortal Crane sect's disciples discussed, many of them stealthily glancing at Fang Zheng's face. Fang Zheng's lips were pursed tight, his face looked pale white, and his hands were clenched tightly within his large sleeves. They were brothers by blood. The moment Fang Yuan appeared, Fang Zheng could intuitively tell that it was his big brother. Fang Zheng was caught unprepared. The shadow during his childhood years suddenly fell and shrouded over him again at this moment. Seemingly like a pair of black hands were tightly clenching his neck. Fang Zheng felt suffocated. The nightmare that he had done his best to evade from since he woke up from his coma attacked his mind once again. The arrogant exclamations and cheers of myriad Dragon Dock group gradually turned quieter. Fang Yuan had displayed high refinement path attainment, seizing first place in all the past 7 rounds, the same as Firesmith Dragon Chief. Myriad Dragon Dock's elders and disciples had to admit Fang Yuan was a powerful opponent. I heard this Fang Yuan's achievement is the same as that of our Firesmith Dragon Chief, seizing first place in all 7 rounds. Is he that person who is dueling Feng Jin Huang? If it is truly him, then that is the owner of who immortal blessed land. He should be very affluent. So what? Haven't you seen the rankings? Firesmith Dragon Chief is ranked at 7th, but where is Fang Yuan placed at? It is beyond 30th place. Right? He is simply looking for humiliation by coming here. I believe Lord Firesmith Dragon Chief will definitely defeat him. Although myriad Dragon Docks group said this, other spectators did not have the same thoughts. Fang Yuan entered on his own accord, showing an extremely aggressive stance. Fang Yuan was clearly not a fool. He surely had confidence and trump cards to move out of his territory and attack. Fang Yuan's unorthodox behavior made Firesmith Dragon Chief startled, furious, and doubtful. Thereupon, Firesmith Dragon Chief probed, Fang Yuan of Immortal Crane sect, are you coming to lose in advance? What Firesmith Dragon Chief truly wanted to ask was, why are you coming here to compete? Couldn't you have just stayed in your territory and advanced safely? You must be smoking something. At the same time as he asked this, he felt gloomy inwardly. We don't have any grudges. What are you trying to do by disturbing me? Don't you still have the duel with Feng Huang? Do I look that easy to bully? The moment he spoke, the uproar turned even louder. What? This Fang Yuan is actually a member of a mortal crane sect. Isn't he a demonic cultivator? It should be true. Firesmith Dragon Chief has personally confirmed it. Can it still be false? This is big news. Who could have thought he was actually a disciple of one of the 10 great ancient sects? But why did he come here? Did Immortal Crane sect have a fight with Myriad Dragon Doc? I haven't heard rumors about any disputes. Even the hosting elder was looking with eyes wide open, staring at Fang Yuan blankly at once. Fang Yuan became the focal point of everyone's gazes. Big brother. Fang Zheng gritted his teeth, his face pale as paper and his body filled with cold sweat unknowingly. He was feeling difficulty in breathing and also physical weakness, as if he had collapsed after doing intense exercise. Fortunately, everyone was gazing at Fang Yuan, and no one noticed his miserable state. Lord Sky Crane consoled him from his aperture, but there was almost no effect. Other Immortal Crane sect members were excitedly gazing at Fang Yuan. Some even stood up unconsciously. Fang Yuan had never officially appeared in Immortal Crane sect's headquarters. However, his legends were spread widely in Immortal Crane sect. Mysterious and powerful, with countless rumors regarding him. It was said that he had outstanding talents, such that he was taken in as a legacy disciple by a Gu Immortal the moment he stepped into Immortal Crane sect. This was of course a rumor, purely speculative and completely unreliable. However, Immortal Crane sect's higher-ups could not refute them once they spoke the truth. Where would their reputation as one of the 10 great ancient sects remain? Moreover, Immortal Crane sect's disciples were more willing to believe the proof in front of them. The greatest proof was Fang Zheng. Fang Zheng had a great aptitude and already had rank 5 cultivation now, becoming a sect elder. They could only imagine, as his big brother, how outstanding Fang Yuan's aptitude must be. Otherwise, how could he have won against Feng Huang and seized Hu Immortal blessed land? Right now, Immortal Crane sect's members were stretching their necks, firmly fixing their gazes upon Fang Yuan like glue. Uncertainty and curiosity was overflowing from within their hearts. I really want to see Lord Fang Yuan's true appearance. It should be similar to Elder Fang Zheng's. Sigh, why did he have to wear a mask? This is a test venue. If we carelessly use investigative goo, we will be thrown out. The disciples communicated excitedly. The other Immortal Crane sect elder finally discovered Fang Zheng's state and asked with concern, Elder Fang Zheng, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? Nothing. Fang Zheng's heart skipped a beat, hurriedly replying. Why does Elder Fang Zheng seem to be afraid of Fang Yuan? Is the relationship between these brothers not good? A strange look flashed past the elder's eyes. Fang Yuan's eyes were hidden behind the mask. He first slowly glanced around, pausing a moment on Fang Zheng before slowly landing on Firesmith Dragon Chief. He chuckled, breaking the long silence, his voice somewhat hoarse as he proudly proclaimed to everyone present. Right? I am Immortal Crane sect's Fang Yuan. Haha, it was true. Elder Fang Yuan, best of luck. Elder Fang Yuan and Elder Fang Zheng are our sect's heroes. The most intense response was from Immortal Crane sect's group. Some disciples almost jumped in excitement. They felt pride and a strong sense of honor in their sect, after being suppressed by Myriad Dragon Doc. Right now, with Fang Yuan's words, they felt really relieved and avenged. What are you so happy about? Right? What is there to be pleased about? Myriad Dragon Doc's group retorted. Hatred flashed past Fang Zheng's eyes, as he said with clenched teeth, Don't compare my brother with me. These words, however, had another meaning when heard by others. Did you hear it? Even Elder Fang Zheng, with his aptitude, admits he is inferior to Lord Fang Yuan. That's right. Reportedly Fang Yuan is a Gu Immortal seed, and the higher-ups are nurturing him with all their strength. Immortal Crane sect's disciples talked in a soft volume, but the sound was not soft at all. You guys, Fang Zheng's expression turned ashen, and he felt an intense dizziness. The expressions of Myriad Dragon Doc's group turned even more unsightly. The atmosphere of conflict intensified. One elder of Myriad Dragon Doc sneered and cursed in a quiet voice. Let's see what kind of downcast expressions you guys will have when he loses. The bustle outside the stage already made the other participants on the stage into props to be ignored. Fang Yuan continued to gaze at Firesmith Dragon Chief and intentionally raised his voice. Firesmith Dragon Chief, I came here to defeat you. It is way too boring to defeat those incompetents. You are a slightly decent opponent. You will add some radiance to my path of advancement. So use your true strength. Don't hold back. I remember your strongest method is, what was it? Mad deities blazing flames. Use it and fight me. This way when I defeat you, I can feel a little satisfaction. Hearing such provocative words from Fang Yuan, whether it was on the stage or outside the stage, all the Gu masters had the same feeling. Arrogant, too arrogant. Everyone had already felt that Firesmith Dragon Chief was arrogant, but now that they saw Fang Yuan, they realized the saying, no matter how good you are, there is always someone better than you was completely true. Look at Fang Yuan. This was the true master of arrogance. Firesmith Dragon Chief was startled. He actually knows about my hidden trump card. This is impossible. I have never exposed this technique. How did he find out? After the astonishment, anger rose in him as he countered. All right, since you, Junior, are boasting so shamelessly, let me teach you a thorough lesson. I will make you understand what true pain is. At the same time, he furiously shouted inwardly. Will I, a grand rank 6 Gu immortal who has undergone 2 heavenly tribulations and is only 1 away from rank 7, be afraid of you, a bottom-tier immortal zombie? Kid, you think too highly of yourself. I will step on you and make you lose all your face. Blindly challenging me will be the greatest regret of your life.